Welcome to Andorks, the podcast where every week we'll analyze and scrutinize the Star Wars series Andor 7 minutes at a time. My name is Rusteen Honardoost.
And I'm Alex Walleneth.
We have friends everywhere, and today we're joined by our friend, No Proscenium contributor, Immersive connoisseur, and Survivor contestant, Anthony Robinson. Welcome to the pod, Anthony.
Hello. Thank you for having me, guys.
How would you define experiential connoisseur?
I enjoy dealing with immersive theater and experiential events, which is basically any piece of theater or art that puts you kind of on the level of the art and you affect it some way by either how you view it, interacting with it, and just kind of putting you on the same plane as the action. And I like to go to them, a lot of them. So I like to go to them, and part of what I do for No Proscenium, from time to time, I step in and talk a little bit about the things that I've seen and have gotten to take part of.
Oh, so it's kind of like a Galactic Starcruiser, the thing that still exists.
Yes, it still exists in part of us. It is. You know, you can walk around Disney. If you walk around Disneyland on Star Wars night, and if you will hear people, because we did it
in the winds, you will hear
you were literally like, if somebody, you'll be walking about and suddenly somebody will see something on you and they'll scream out like together, and like 40 people turn around and goes, "That's one." It's wild. Like the call and response it's like baked into you now. So
that looked so cool, and I was so excited to when they first announced it, and I had plans of whenever it went up, my wife and I were gonna do it as like our honeymoon. And then when they showed how much it cost, I was just like, I cannot ask for this as a wedding gift.
I was like, in 2 years when the price goes down, I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Like, maybe down the line when it becomes a little more affordable, just a hair, just a tiny bit. That's all I needed.
It's the wild thing is the way that it worked out, and just when you break down, this is one of the things that we always talk about. It's like, because I priced it, when we first came out, I was like, okay, we priced against cruises, like what it costs for like to go on a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And if you figure it's we broke it down, it's $1,000 per person for 40 like 9 hours in Star Wars.
Yeah,
with all your meals, it's like your meals, you got to go to on the planet while you're there, you got a show, it worked. Noah and a couple of people worked out a while ago that immersive theater at its base cost is about $1 a minute.
Can you say that with so people know who Noah is?
So Noah Nelson is the publisher and founder of No Proscenium and noproscenium.com. No Proscenium being like the proscenium arch of the old stage, and since it's immersive, it has no proscenium. It's a wonderful bit of nerd lore, theater nerd lore. But Noah he really is one of the people. He and one of our other co-editors, Catherine Yu, they very much have their finger on the pulse of what's happening in the immersive world. And one of the things they sat down and did a few years ago, Noah kind of sat and calculated with people, just like running costs of what it costs them to pay actors and rent space and everything else. And for the time you're there, and he worked out with some folks, it's literally about $1 a minute. So if you go to an hour show, $50 is not unreasonable.
Yeah.
Totally.
So if you figure you're in that world of Starcruiser, it's for an afternoon, 2 night, it's like 2 nights and like a day and a half. It works out.
Yeah, I guess like the question, like I think the issue with like comparing it exactly to a experience is like how much of the thing that you're experiencing is creative play versus how much of this is like other random tourists who are experiencing it. So I'm like, if I could go in and be like, okay, the 10 people I'm going in with are hardcore, they're ready to go. That's one thing. If it's just a guy who's, with his kids in a t-shirt, that kind of immediately kills the immersion.
No, actually it doesn't. There were actually lots of people that did it. There were people who and this is kind of one of the weird things about it. It's I Will Die on This Hill. Part of the quote unquote what people call a failure. And let's be real, it was not a failure. It was a failure in marketing.
Yeah.
It was not a failure because as an immersive piece, they made a temple. They made a temple to Star Wars. But there were people like on the cruise that I went. I know other people cruises. There are a lot of people who went in not really knowing what it was. They'd never done we have a local thing here in Los Angeles, Knott's Berry Farm, and they do a thing called Ghost Town Alive, which is literally it's kind of like Westworld for kids.
Sorry, you mean Not Scary Farm?
No, Knott's Berry Farm. Not the haunt.
Okay.
Not Scary Farm, but the regular thing during the summer. And the Ghost Town, basically they have characters and character actors and people. They basically put on immersive theater for the summer.
Cool.
And they have like this recurring story that continues every summer, and they have recurring characters, and it's kind of like on a loop. So every day it's the same day. It's Founders Day. It's always Founders Day for the entire time. But it's the next year, and they keep going, and they've been continuing on. So you can rob a bank, and you can help out with the bad guys, the good guys. You can help the sheriff out. There's all these different stories to do, and it's very much part of the park. Now you take like Starcruiser, and Starcruiser was its own specific experience. It was its own experience for you and four of your closest friends in our family, right? That shared a cabin, and there are a lot of people who didn't understand what they were getting into going in.
Yeah,
it's very similar, and because they didn't know that dressing up makes it better. It's the same thing. It's like dressing up in costume makes it better. You get to feel like you're part of it. But the way that it was written and the way that the actors handle it, and the actors were superb.
Yeah.
The cast and the crew and even the cast members, just the regular cast members who were all in character, and they went out of their way, and some people above and beyond, to basically bring what you were wearing into it, and what you're doing, and it wasn't ever anything that broke the magic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was totally supportive of all the people who work there. The question to me was like you said, like the people who don't know what they're getting into are sort of thrown aside. And it probably just needed more time for people to figure out what exactly it was.
I can tell you, I saw a lot of t-shirts and flip-flops, and they were just enjoying the world because they, like I said, what they put together was something that pulled you in, and you got the chance to play, and which is a big thing for immersive theater. You get a chance to play as either a kid or an adult, and you got to play in the Star Wars world. And let me tell you, there was laughter, there was tears, there were shouts, there were people who were like really into it. Kids got really into it, the adults got really into it, and I mean, when you're sitting eating your blue shrimp from Moncal, and your lava bowl, your lava bread bowls from literally your lava bread from it's just kind of like, all right, what world am I living in? Because there's a there's a Twilight that's singing over there, rocking down. There's a Wookiee who's sneaking through the room, and and there's
you tell me this blue shrimp fried this rice.
Yeah. There was in fact blue like I had on my first day. It's like even the food is immersive, and that was a big thing that they put forth. I mean, it was like on tap. There was on tap blue milk, so you could like basically go up to the dispenser and get your blue milk all the time. The first meal I had, I looked at it and it did not look like anything that it tastes like, which is kind of the cool thing about it. So I had for my lunch when I first got there I had a salad, which was the only thing that actually looked like it was. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that had green bread and was like weird colors. It was great. And like something else that was like a roll, like it, when you are so deep in the world that you forget that you're eating a PB&J sandwich.
Yeah.
Because it's not a PB&J. And that was for, as far as I could tell, everybody, at least on the time that I went, because I went one of the later, towards the end, but everybody who went on it, people who'd been there before, people who hadn't been before, everybody was in the world. And that was one of the incredibly exciting things about that, because it was real. For the time you were there, it was real. And it was also, I'm going to pull back for a second because I can talk about this ad nauseum. it was a thing that I went to and I fell in love with. And when I was done, I said goodbye to my friends that I new friends, and one of my friends who went with me, one of my college friends, acquaintances that went with me in our group. And I said goodbye to everybody. And I went to the airport down there in Florida, and I got to my gate and I sat and I wept because because it was because the experience itself was beautiful, and I knew that it was going away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, and it was really sad for me because like my son really wanted to go, and he's not a big Star Wars guy because that's Dad's thing.
But if he would have went, he would be a big Star Wars guy.
If he went, he would have been a big Star Wars guy because I've taken him to like other kid immersives as I called it, like kid immersive things. And so he had an idea of what it was and kind of knew that it was a Star Wars thing. Your dad was into it, and I really would have loved to have gotten a chance to share that with my kid and with a couple other people, a couple other friends who would have really done well by being part of that. And was it super expensive? Absolutely. Was it a great once in a lifetime opportunity if you could manage to make the means to go? Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's just too bad that they decided to cut it off right when everybody was like, okay, we figured out how to pay for it. Like we were all like figured out like, okay, we figured out the system, we figured out how to pay for it, how to get families in, how to get stuff so we can make it happen. And they're like, we're cutting it.
The thing that makes Star Wars so special is that it's such a tangible world, which is why like the promise of the Starcruiser was so great that like you can't do something like that with so many other IP out there. The amount of like films that you could literally invite people inside of is very small, and Star Wars is like at the top of that list, at least for me as like a lifelong fan. And something we've talked a lot about, especially in the context of Andor, is how there was a very brief window of time where you could convince a company like Disney to invest that much money into making Andor. And I think Galactic Starcruiser also fell in that window, and it's an unfortunate casualty of how brief that window was. That like Andor was able to finish its run a little shorter, a little faster than they had originally intended. Whereas the Starcruiser, unfortunately, just ended up getting completely shut down before they had a chance to really iron out those kinks and give it a proper send-off, which I think was the saddest part about how quickly. Because if they had announced we're going to close it in like a year or 2 years or something, like they would have given people more time to everybody who was like on the fence like me, I would have like done it. But they announced it was something like 4 months. 6 months. Like that was like, I can't make a trip that quickly. Yeah. We have so many restaurants here in LA that like announce they're going to close, and then so many people show up that they're like, oh, we don't need to close anymore. And like, I feel like if they had done that, they could have. That's
what we all thought. A lot of us thought that that's what the trick was. They thought they announced it closing, and then they're like, oh, we're going to extend it. We're going to keep extending it. Especially since it's baked into the land. It's what a lot of people don't realize. Like it was built and baked into Galaxy's Edge. I mean, the whole thing for them changing the mission, because if by the time this comes, only by the time this comes out, folks will see the new mission with Grogu and with the Mandalorian and Grogu. The whole mission that you do, that whole mission on Smuggler's Run, that's actually part of the story. That's literally it's part of the story for a Starcruiser. Like the things that happen in the land are.
Wait, so there's more coaxium lore?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to know. We'll come back to coaxium later.
There's a whole bunch of coaxium stuff. It's kind of they knew what they were doing when they built it.
Yeah,
it wasn't an accident.
No, I think Rusteen brings up a good point, which is that like Star Wars is sort of this thing where like they're like, how big can we make it and how much can we take on? And I don't know if either of you guys watched the new Defunct Land documentary about was it
the living characters?
Yes, A Broken Promise. Where they were sort of talking about like there was this sort of moment where like, oh, we're going to bring in all of these people, but the hope was always, okay, but eventually we'll replace them with robots. That is always sort of the goal: is how can we cut labor? How can we move these things to a different direction? And I think like they sort of like, oh, originally the outpost will be covered with robots and aliens or whatever, and they're like, oh, this is too expensive. We'll just not do it. And it's sort of like there is sort of like the goal of what these projects are, and then how they scale back and how that intersects with art and creativity is sort of like a very it's a very interesting nexus point for a bunch of different topics.
Part of the reason I didn't end up making the plunge into it was because it felt like what happened behind the scenes was that they had these plans of having the immersive characters in the world itself. And then when that became too expensive, they basically put it behind a paywall of the hotel.
Also, just point of order for me, not a hotel. Not a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It was
Sorry.
no, but it's just it was a cruise experience because it was based off it was a cruise. You went on a cruise that happened to be a place where you slept. So
but that speaks to the marketing problem of the thing that we all call it the Star Wars hotel, and then are like, I don't want to pay that much for a hotel though.
No, it is a cool once in a lifetime cruise experience where stuff happens. It's a murder mystery. Like, that's the funny thing. It's like, people know what murder mysteries are.
Yeah.
We know what murder mysteries are. God bless us from the other property. We know what holodecks are. Put them both together, you get Starcruiser. Just with live people. It's it's Renaissance. It's a Kylo Ren fair, as some people call a Galaxy's Edge, but it's Kylo Ren fair. Like you say, behind a paywall. In a world where people are still fighting the war that started with Andor, which is kind of,
coming back to Andor, I would be remiss if I did not talk about one thing, which is like the thing that stuck out to me watching promotions for the cruise, not the hotel, was the idea of like the kids joining the it's
not the Jedi,
it's the First Order.
Oh yeah, well, you could become a collaborator with the First Order.
I'm like, what is your thoughts on that? Because like, I mean, that was a little weird of like, hey, like have your kids like
turn in Chewbacca.
Turn in Chewbacca felt like a weird thing. Like, what was sort of your feeling of like?
Oh no, kids were the worst. Kids were the worst. Kids automatically joined the First Order.
Why? Why do you think that?
And it was actually really funny. There's a couple of people like they jokingly said like kids turn into cops the moment like you give them rules, right? It's a classic thing of like, all right guys, do you see a Wookiee behind me? Oh, there he is. Or it's just auto response. And a lot of kids respond to authority, and that the part of what they wrote with the First Order was that was intended to be like the kids track.
Okay, that's weird.
In many ways, because he's a little goofy. Because the whole thing for that character is that he's still a lieutenant. And he's still a lieutenant. He's like incompetent. He's like a totally sprawled out, and the kids are all about him. But the funny thing is, depending on which group of kids you either get kids who are complete collaborators, or you get the kids who are like fighting him at every single turn. So I think at one cruise there's this story thing where basically they found out that he was scared of porgs. So every kid brought their like they had to distract him at one point, and they basically all brought out their porg dolls apparently, and just were tossing porgs at, like, they just went and found porgs and were tossing porgs at the guy, and the guy's like, he because bless these actors.
Yeah,
they are brilliant, talented people, and from a wide different parts of Disney Park, from Florida, and they're all really good at what they do. They're all really good at what they do. And he went with it. It was a yes and he went with it. And he went screaming from the porgs. It was kind of it's you kind of love that. And people bring their own stories into it. People brought their own stories, and they interacted with each other. So guests interacted with each other, and they interacted with the characters, and you end up with this beautiful, rich world, rich experience that I'm very glad to say that I got a chance to do, and I really wish it had left a better legacy. There are those of us who are out there and trying to show what the actual legacy of this place is, because I can tell you I have lifelong family because of this. People who I didn't fly with, people who I didn't travel with, but the stars guided our, as you say, may the stars light your path. Our stars guided us to the same place. So I have friends who I made after the fact over Starcruiser. It is a niche thing. It was an incredibly expensive thing, but it's an incredibly rich experience that that I really wish more people got a chance to do.
Totally.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone who regretted the experience. Like, and it's such a shame of how short-lived it ended up being, for how much heart and soul everybody inside of that building put into it. Everybody on that cruise gave everything to it. And it's a shame that management was so short-sighted.
Yeah. And it's so much deep Star Wars lore. There's so like it is as far as the Star Wars as the expanded galaxy, as the like not the expanded universe, but it's just like as the galaxy is of Star Wars. It's so rich in itself of lore that they built in, that worked in, that they pulled in from other places, that goes back to the Old Republic. The Old Republic all the way up through the Second Galactic Civil War. I mean, that's how much care and thought that they put into it. They had input from Lucasfilm. They worked with people. There were things that got filmed during The Last Jedi, right? That they use. So, they filmed a bunch of stuff at the same time. So it's a lot of stuff that you see in Rise of the Resistance. There's appearances from characters all through the sequel trilogy that show up. Hondo shows up. We got a live action Hondo. Okay. we got live action, like the same Hondo that talks to you in Smuggler's Run shows up in the experience. And that whole thing of the coaxium, and we'll talk about that, but the coaxium, that whole thing comes back. It's a plot point for Starcruiser. And I really wish more people got to see the incredible lore, the incredible Star Wars, because I know a lot of people said, "Oh, it doesn't look like Star Wars, doesn't feel like Star Wars." It was Star Wars. I promise you, it was the most Star Warsy of Star Wars stuff. And when you got to see past what they chose to advertise with, it was Star Wars, and you never left the world.
Yeah, I think I wonder, like part of I think Disney's sort of like freak out was like after The Last Jedi, and they invested all of the stuff in that timeline. If Galactic Starcruiser would have taken place during the original trilogy, I wonder if there would have been a bigger like interest in it. But it's like something's like already the new Star Wars worlds are already.
I don't think that there's enough of a difference between the Star Wars universes that I feel like the storyline that they went through would have been relatively the same. The experience would have been relatively the same. Maybe if you got to see Luke Skywalker instead of Rey, that might have gotten a couple more nerds in the door than otherwise. But I think the sequel trilogy was the thing that was still out there. And so I think it still made sense to tie it to that.
Yeah. Talking about the original trilogy, Anthony, what's your history with Star Wars? We see a tattoo on your arm, but
yeah. So I have a little tattoo here of my kids' names. They go with me wherever I go. I got that a couple years ago. But my history, my oldest memory is Star Wars. I am not a young man. I'm not an old man, but I'm not a young man. My first memory is, and I'm going to out myself for how old I am. My first memory is sitting in the back seat of my mom's Nissan with a drive-in theater, with a little tin speaker clipped to the window, watching the trench run. My first memory really is okay, kid, that's great. Let's take your shot and get out of here. That's my first memory. That's my first coherent memory. And I grew up on the Kenner toys when they were doing it, and when they were still $1.
Imagine that.
When they were $1, and I had the original set, and my mom and my grandmother and my grandpa all knew that I was totally in love with it. And I had a lot of the play sets. I had the Millennium Falcon. I had the OG Death Star, which was just basically the long tower. I had my little case with all the guys in it. And then there was a certain point when me and my best friend who lived next door to me, we played Star Wars by Us, which is basically, in its own way, it's my own version of LARPing back in the day. But we took wire hangers and bent them into blasters, and we reenacted the movie on our own. The whole, I think at one point we reenacted the entire series. Just we go out and we play. We go, okay, today we're doing episode 4, we're doing Star Wars, and today we're doing Empire Strikes Back. And we did that. We just played all the characters between the two of us. And I have grown up in and around Star Wars and watching it religiously, multiple times a year. And reading the expanded universe books and playing the video games and in the role-playing games. I'm actually in a superly large role-playing tabletop role-playing game that's like 30 people, I think, right now.
Oh wow!
Do you want to shout out your character?
My character, for those people who know, hopefully by this point most people will know who I am. I'm playing a member of one of Deidre's actually compatriots.
Okay.
It's actually really funny because playing the Secret Police with Imperials is just fun, right? So we actually, it's currently set, because the way he's doing this thing, it's actually currently set in the period that Andor's taking place in.
Cool.
So we actually played out Mon Mothma's escape. So we actually did that. We were like side characters, like as she was escaping. So like we didn't actually take part in her getting out or the firefight with it, but we kind of like followed the breadcrumbs as she left. So we're literally in that world right now. So Andor is when we are playing, which is kind of playing InSec is fun. So I'm playing a lieutenant from InSec who's rather cold and demanding, and and we're right now there's only two of us that anybody knows about that we're playing, and we, like I said, we're running our secret police, and we may or may not have turncoats in other places. I shall say nothing. But yeah, we're having fun. We've been playing with senators and imperial security, and it's been a lot of fun. So that's my world. So yeah, I have been immersed in and around Star Wars. I've forgotten more than some people know.
On that note, we like to ask our guests, who are your glup shittos? Who's that tertiary character who owns a piece of your heart?
So many to choose from. I have a couple of favorites, a couple of favorite characters that are kind of like my glup shittos. Really, the Hammerhead, the OG like Thorian from the very first one, is one of my old favorites, because that was actually one of my favorite action figures for some reason. I have no idea why, but he was. So I make stories like where he was and what he's from, and then it was like, he's got a name as an Thorian. I was like, what? I was like, that's so cool. And then after that, it is probably the character before it was confirmed at the Battle of Endor on Return of the Jedi. If you go and look at the characters, of the rebel squadron who's up there in their camo gear, there's the one old guy with the beard, and they've since said that that's Rex. which
that's cute.
Which falls in perfectly, because it's like, yes, he would have been at Battle of Endor. So that used to be one of my things. I'm like, I love that guy with the beard. It's the random soldier in the back with the beard. Who is he? What's his story? And now they're like, oh no, that's Rex. It's like it's old man Rex.
That's like, amazing. Okay. I love that. I didn't know Rex was there.
That's the new lore. That's how they worked him in. They're like, oh no, that's him.
Alex has gladly not dove into the expanded universe. I'm curious, like, if there was anything that you think, where would you recommend a newbie, pick up? Because it's such a deep well. It can be kind of intimidating.
Well, the question is, two questions for you. One, do you play video games, and two, do you want to stick with the original with the current canon? Because that makes a difference on where you look. So if you want to go so I would say, if you just want pure Star Wars, just pure joy and love of Star Wars, pick up a copy of the OG Knights of the Old Republic. Right, pick up a copy of Knights of the Old Republic. It's on. I was like pleasantly surprised. It works on like IMAX, like not IMAX. God, it's aging myself. It works on iPads and the iPhone. You can actually download it. It used to be like 5 CDs. Now it's like it fits on your iPad. Pick up a copy of Knights of the Old Republic. It is all the deep lore about Sith, all about the Jedi, about battles that we haven't heard of. Darth Revan, who they occasionally mention here and there now. You will recognize some stuff that's in the background of Luthien shop. It's got one of the greatest random Wookiee jokes that's kind of thrown in the middle of all of it. Just basically, it's I did it all for the Wookiees. The Wookiees. Yeah. It is it is a really great play, and lots of stuff that's been going on with the High Republic stuff that they've put in, lots of stuff with the new things, with video games, and with some of the cooler lore that you kind of get glimpses of now, because we have a effectively a showrunner who loves Star Wars deeply, and just like, let's put these little things from the expanded universe. So like there are things that he's mentioned that get mentioned kind of like sideways in Andor. There's things got mentioned in Book of Boba Fett. There's things, God help me, there's things got mentioned in The Mandalorian. And that are all little bits and pieces that have been picked from the Coder series. So yes, do yourself a favor, play the video game, give yourself a good like 25 hours. It's just like a little bit a day. It'll be fun. It's its own novel, and you won't be like, but that doesn't make sense. It's like, no, because it's in a time period. So yeah,
they keep flirting with bringing KOTOR back. We were supposed to get that remake that doesn't seem like it's happening, and they just announced like a new game, which is very exciting. I hope that it actually happens.
I saw the footage. I'm like, yes. So.
Well, on that note, I think, are we ready to dive back into the world of Andor, where previously we had Cassian admitting to the Aldhani crew that he's being paid to be part of this mission, and we return to find the gang pressing Vel about why she kept this secret from them. And she says her options were to take him or call off the mission. And while everyone is mad at Vel, Cassian says that even if she had told them, they would just be upset about something else, because the day before is always hard. And I love this line from him. It's too much time to worry, and it makes you afraid.
Yeah, they're just all waiting to crack. They are wound up too tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tamarin says, like, no, you're the one who's afraid. And Andor replies, of course I'm afraid.
So afraid.
Yeah, like we're about to go fucking storm an Imperial garrison, but there's a difference between fear and losing your nerve. If you want to get out of this mission, that's your choice, but don't use me as an excuse, is what he says. And what are your thoughts about, you're diving in the middle of a scene here with the Aldhani crew.
You can start with when you were watching it of the Aldhani heist in general, if you want to start there.
So this whole little arc for the Aldhani heist, especially for this episode, because I was rewatching it, and what I love is how much of his speech is echoed in different places all through this episode.
Mm-hmm.
His thing about like, I'm afraid, and of course I'm afraid. Because really, out of all these people who are in Aldhani, he's the only one who's really tested. He's the only one who's really tested, including with the lieutenant, right? Because lieutenant, this is the first time he's doing something against the Empire.
Yeah.
And as we hear all over and over again, like Andor has been doing this since he was 13. He's been in this fight since he was a child, in one way or another. And I love that this speech in this episode, and a lot of things through this one episode just kind of echo each other. So it's like, it's with Syril and his mom. It's like somebody trying to get somebody to do something they don't want. It's like, in the episode before, Luthien's like, you're making Andor, do this thing that I don't want to do. When he drops him off to Vel, it's like, it's the thing I don't want to do. And in this moment here, it's they just finished fighting. It's like, give me something that I don't want to. Give me information that I don't want to give you. And they're all doing it back and forth. They're all in this weird place where they are trying to force others and themselves to do something that they really don't want to do, that they're scared of. And in this moment, he is probably the smartest person on the field.
There's almost something very like Jedi-like of the like difference between fear and losing your nerve.
Yeah. Fear is an emotion that everybody is going to feel, but you can't let it control your actions, which is what losing your nerve is. And I think the blocking of this scene does a really good job of communicating this to us, because everybody is kind of circled in a half circle around Cassian as he's kind of like on trial. But then when you look behind him, he has the horizon behind him. He's unencumbered. But everybody else, they have these rocks and mountains behind them. Like their backs are up against the wall. And so I think that's like visualizing to us how Cassian is both alone in this conversation, like they are all united against him and he has nothing else behind him, but also that, yes, he has that clarity of vision that they are too afraid right now to have themselves.
Well, it's also the first time in this series where Cassian really becomes a leader.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time when he basically says, "Put up or shut up," you know, and it really does set everybody, including villains, like in their place. It's kind of like, guys, you want to do this thing, you want to do this really hard, impossible thing, like. I'll get you through it because I don't want to die either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm here to live and I'd like not to die, and I like you guys to make it through too. So it's like what you say here about like them having their backs to the wall, and he's by himself, not just on trial, but it's like he is literally instructing them. Like by this point, like you say, he's by himself, and a character who ends up by himself, which is something that echoes later on with when we see Syril by himself. Looking at the thing he wants to go after, which is of course Cassian. I just love what they did here. It's like it's over and over again. It's like one person against everybody else. One person standing solo with their what they're looking to do, and it's we get him here by himself. We get him here fighting these guys. We get Mon Mothma later on. We can talk about that. It's like Mon Mothma later on. Like fighting against like the front of her husband and daughter. We get Luthien standing up against Clea. It's like it's an echo of war all through this, and it's just kind of like there's a fight to be had at every moment of the way this episode. It's
So actually, while you're talking about Mon, should we hop back into? Should we? We'll be back to Aldani.
We have like just one final
Okay.
kind of moment here that I want to talk about, which is that when it's time for when Vel wants to end the conversation, she then steps into the middle of that circle to like break everybody's eye lines and get them back onto her, which I thought was like another like good piece of blocking, which is like an art in filmmaking that I think doesn't get enough due. So I wanted to highlight that there. And while no one seems very satisfied by the outcome of this talk, it does, like you're saying, look like Andor has succeeded in kind of leading everybody through this difficult moment, because the mission could have very well ended here. Because another part of the scene is everybody kind of saying, I didn't know that you were a mercenary. Did you know? Did you know? Even Cinta didn't know about it. Where it's all very like personal of like, I've been lied to, is kind of the feeling, especially Skeen feels that way. Whereas Andor is saying like, no, like there's going to be things you don't like. There's going to be things that are scary and you have to just deal with it. And he manages to get them through it.
Also, one of the things that I look at this with him and Skeen in particular, this is personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things that Andor says over and over and over again. This is not personal. It's not personal. It's the thing that he takes away from Luthien, from through all this. And even Luthien is like, it's not personal. It's never personal. It's about doing the things that you have to do in order to make it work.
Yeah.
It's getting your hands dirty to make this rebellion work. And it's a theme that, like, one of the things I enjoyed about Andor was that there's themes about like how rebellion works that just come up over and over and over and over again. And sometimes, it's you have to be careful of what you do so you don't become your enemy. But sometimes you have to become your enemy to fight your enemy. Is that in the end of all things in rebellion, there's a point where when the fighting starts, no one's hands are clean.
Yeah.
You can't be like you will have blood on your hands in some way or another, if it's by money or by paper or blaster. And that's the thing where all of them going, but I didn't know you were a mercenary. It's like, guys, you guys are all mercenaries. It's just, it's like the fact that they're complaining about, oh, well, you didn't tell us that you were paid to be here. It's like, well, why the hell would I be here? It's like, why would any of you guys
for my health? Yeah,
for my health. Like, you guys are all doing this for different reasons. You're doing it, like you want a brain, and you want a heart, and you want to go home, right? It's like, I'm here for the money, right? Considering what they're getting ready to do, they're getting ready to rob a bank. They're doing a bank heist.
Yeah.
And you're complaining that you have a mercenary? The guy knows he's the only guy who knows how to fly. He's the only guy who knows really how to shoot. He's the only guy who really pays enough attention to go like, oh yeah, by the way, Mr. Stormtrooper, former trooper who knows stuff. Yeah, you're on the wrong side. Switch. Why? It's like, oh, come on. It's so for all these folks to sit up here and say that, well, we didn't know you were doing it for the money. It's like, you know, especially Skeen. Like I hold Skeen to a different, because Skeen's a big part of this and a couple of other moments in this episode. Skeen saying like, "Oh well, he makes fun of Nemec. Oh well, Nemec's a true believer.
Yeah.
I'm just here for I'm here for the vengeance. So how does it make you better than the guy who's doing it for cash?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because at least we know exactly what his motivations are. You know, his motivations are pretty straightforward. You're doing it because you were mad about your brother. You know, like all these people are doing it for different reasons. And the truth of it is, Andor is right for calling them out. Cassian is absolutely 100% right for calling them out. It's like, you guys are all scared to do this. You don't want to do it. You're looking for any reason not to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Andor that we've seen before this moment is not a leader. He's not somebody who will lead the charge for any cause unless it was for money. And so what this scene is doing is it's giving him his first taste of leadership, which is in a way selfish. He doesn't want to go into this mission looking over his back and getting killed. Like, that is the reason why he's stepping up right now. It's not because he cares about really getting the money for the rebellion, as much as he wants to get one over on the Empire. But by being thrust into these circumstances, he's getting a taste of the hero that he's gonna eventually become.
And I think that's why Luthien put him in this position.
Yeah,
I mean, like, Luthien wanted to test him, and Luthien wanted to test him in something big because he saw this guy, who's like, you're willing to take chances, you're scrappy enough to keep your butt from getting destroyed, and goodness knows, like, you could be something bigger than what you are. So
we'll get to the end of the episode, but like, Luthien made the right call, because it's very clear that Luthien is. If he had not done this, I don't think it would have worked. He's right there.
No,
He'd be freaking out. Yeah,
absolutely.
Would have absolutely failed. Yeah, they would have all been dead or caught.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you guys don't know how to fly it. We'll figure it out. You didn't know how to, it's like there's that whole scene earlier that they fuss about that. It's kind of like, and that's the same thing here. It's like, what are you guys gonna do? Like, really, what are you guys gonna do? It's like, because if you all shoot me, good luck.
Yeah.
If you're really that worried about it, then you're gonna shoot me and you're gonna take me down. Rape my pockets, and then good luck with that. It's like,
mm-hmm.
Which is kind of that whole thing plays out very beautifully in just this little pocket of looking at where they're going. They're screwed, and they know it.
But yeah, we'll come back to Aldhani. We'll go back to Coruscant, where I forgot Mon was in this episode because that was 5 weeks ago. For your viewers at home, it's only 20 minutes. For us, it was a month. They're in there. I just wrote down what it was. It's the JPP 192.
Yes,
the good old JPP,
or just
nice.
a space limo.
No, it's the limo speeder.
Limo speeder. Yeah.
Speeder. The good old limo speeder. Yeah. So we have the very, like, I think evolution, like, visually, like, a lot of this is from the original thing, but I think the Blade Runner visualizations that has entered Coruscant is hard to ignore.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we see a couple that is truly in love sitting in the back of their limo, refusing to make eye contact for most of the scene.
I imagine they've been in that car for like half an hour without saying anything to each other.
This is something I want to talk about. They are flying cars.
Yeah.
They can move in any direction.
Yeah.
How is there traffic? Because
I think that there are, like, routes of travel in the same way that there are roads. That, like,
yes, but that's so dumb.
Well, otherwise they would be, like, crashing into
each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's made me think of, like, there's a space Robert Moses who has designed all of these highways and designed the Space Expressway, and I desperately want to know about this guy.
Absolutely.
Well, it's like Space Boston, like all Boston's original roads were cow paths. So it's like, this is like Minoc paths, I guess. It's like it's as the Minoc flies.
Yeah, originally the planet was all one town. Now it's all one city, but it started as a town. It started with dirt roads. Yeah, so they're sitting next to each other. Perrin is huffy. I guess that would be the word I would use.
Yeah,
and she tells Mon that she saw him talking to Gar Tafid?
Yeah.
I looked it up. There's nothing. He's just a guy from this scene.
Just a great Star Wars name.
It feels like it's like a Garfield acronym.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, because I have in my note here, Perrin Merchant is a Gardafield. Knows more about what Mon's up to than he does. She tells him that must be embarrassing.
Oof.
And still no eye contact.
They are just so good at sniping at each other. Between like Mon and Perrin and Syril and Edie, like we just have so many like dysfunctional families.
It would
in
be so
this
funny
episode.
if there was a reveal that there's been someone just sitting on the other side of the chairs the whole time, just someone just being really awkwardly quiet as this is happening.
Like Mon's assistant,
Yeah.
who just like knows to be quiet before like someone throws a drink at her
They
head.
offered Garth the feed a ride home, and now he's just sitting there awkwardly.
No, I'll stay here. It'll be good luck, Mon.
Mhm.
Perrin, yes, yeah.
So this weather lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, Perrin asks Mon, were you planning to tell me about this new foundation? And she tells him, well, I didn't think you'd be interested. And she goes, finally make eye contact. Like if there was a game of don't look,
Mhm.
Perrin has lost and goes, why is that? And she goes, it's charitable. Which,
Owned.
Yeah, owned. He lost.
He actually got owned so hard he shut up.
No, he goes,
Mothma's very upset when Perrin brings up the foundation. And on the one hand, I do think it's just that, like, she just kind of doesn't want to talk to him. But I think that a subtext of it is that this Gar to feed guy knows about the foundation.
Yes.
And is talking about it behind her back. And it's just another sign to Mon of just how many eyes are on her, that she can't do anything without the surveillance world around her knowing about it. It just gives it's just such a subtle way of demonstrating how much scrutiny Mon Mothma is under right now.
Also, it's funny, is like watching this scene in the context of now knowing that there are deleted scenes, the things that didn't make it in, that they cut from the story, that Perrin knew.
Mm-hmm.
The Perrin always knew. So this like under with that, when I was watching this, that in the back of my head, it's like, oh, that was a whole conversation. It's like, oh, so you know what I'm going on? It's like, you don't really need to know what I'm going on because I'm trying to protect you, Perrin. Well, I know what's going on. I've always known what's going on, and it's like, well, I'm doing this charitable thing. Oh shit, we can't talk about that. Yeah, we can't talk about that. I'm sorry, can I curse in this one?
You can
Right.
curse, don't worry.
I'm sorry. Oh, blast. We can't talk about
Chob's knob.
Chob's knob.
Chob's knobs. Oh, Dank Ferrick. We can't talk about that. I mean, like,
Wait, we have a real Star Wars connoisseur. Do we have any more context on Chob's knob?
No.
I was hoping you'd be like, oh yeah, it's referenced in this book from 1979, the Chob expedition.
It'll just live in our imaginations.
Yeah, we'll have to imagine the knob.
Like, I'll send you guys an email. I'll find out like 4 days from now. I'll be like, okay, it's this.
So there's no god named Chob that we know of.
Chob's not that I recall. It may be a Jedi. I don't know. There's so many good bad names. Good bad names and amazing words. So other than like blast, Dank, Ferrick, and Sith spit, like those might in-world swear words. But yeah, no, it's I love the fact that they literally, even without context of the deleting scene, they're having a whole conversation without having a conversation. Like they've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
And he knows something that she knows. It's like, that I know, but neither of us is going to say that, the other knows. Just like we're not blinking in this conversation. We're not going to say it out loud, because to say it out loud is to admit that it's happening.
Yeah.
Admit that I know that you're doing stuff that I'm scared about you doing. And it's funny because their relationship is almost as if she is purposely pushing him away.
Yeah.
Not because she hates him, because later on in the wedding thing, like it's clear that she loved him at some point.
Yeah.
But it's like she's pushed him away because she is so scared of her child getting injured, her husband getting injured. The fact that she's gone to great lengths, maybe because he is an Imperial sympathizer, or maybe it's because like he's keeping that air up, and she's encouraging it so that he's protected. It's one of the great unspoken stories in the show, is that their marriage and their relationship is this weird thing, because they clearly came together, they made a child together, they've been together, and they're sticking around. They're not splitting up. Like, come on, even Han and Leia split up from each other.
Yeah, but this is a political marriage. This is not a marriage of love.
Yeah, but they share the same. They still share the same beds. They still share all the same appearances. Like, they are still clearly together and living and loving together, even if he's got his own little life. And it's very, it's very French.
Yeah,
It's very French politician. It's like, you have your dalliances and I have mine, and mine are bloody and yours are, more carnal.
No, I just did a rewatch of Fiddle on the Roof, and I can imagine them singing, "Do you love me?" And then her just going, "No," and that's the end of the song.
Yeah. Sunrise, sunset,
And
no.
sunrise. Sunrise.
There's
There's so many sunrises.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
sunrise. It's sunrise. Fiddler on a Death Star.
Sounds crazy now. Yeah. So Perrin finally changes the subject and looks towards the new driver in the front. He asks, "What's his name?" And she tells him it's Chloris.
Which is the second time we've seen him ask for the driver's name.
Yes.
He's such an asshole.
Well, that's right.
Because she she has to hold like every muscle in her face to not like scoff and like roll her eyes when he asks again.
Well, she's so worried about him like noticing things before. At least she knows he's too dumb to even remember the name of the driver. And then she does I love the Star Wars equivalent of like the little
touch panel thing that he's got to push. Yeah,
I love close the little window to the driver. Just love that there's a Star Wars version of that. But yeah, she wants to make sure Chloris does not hear the rest of the conversation. And like I said, they ask him to take the expressway as they drive away, which again, Space Expressway is really funny.
And you mentioned Blade Runner before, but as she's like flying through the city, it is also very like Metropolis like the big towering lights and skyscrapers all around them.
I guess it's also
a beautiful sight.
I guess it's a little Jetsons with just space traffic.
But what if the Jetson husband and wife hated each other?
That's in the gritty reboot that's coming.
Yeah. That's next year in 2027. The Jetsons
on Netflix.
Honestly, I'm surprised that there hasn't been like a CGI Jetson.
I think they tried.
Okay, I have the most recent Jetsons news.
Okay.
In development as of October 2025.
Okay.
Live action film based off the Jetsons. In development with Colin Trevorrow.
Okay.
And starring Jim Carrey. Colin Trevorrow will get to tell his future space story.
Oh my God.
He's gonna get to end the Star Wars.
He's gonna end the Sprocket.
The Sprocket.
Sprocket.
Well, that movie will definitely happen. Any final thoughts on Mon Mothma and Perrin before we leave them? Say goodbye for the last time in this for a while. We're not going to see them again for a while.
Honestly, while they're flying around, actually, one of the things about the scene I love is that they give her all this business to do. Mm-hmm. It's something that you don't really get to see in Star Wars. Like all through Andor, you get to see people living in Star Wars, which is not a real thing that you often get to see. People take off their shoes and they fiddle with their gear, and it's not just pick up and go and throw out a blaster. And I love they gave her all this business of her taking her earrings off.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clear. It's like she's like, oh, this day has been long. I have to take all my accoutrements off, and it's also very much a moment of her not taking her armor off, but she's taking off one of her masks.
Yeah,
like she's got masks upon helmets upon deceits, and it's like one of her things she gets to remove a little bit. She goes, I get to be myself with Perrin for a moment.
Yeah,
I get to be the real Mon Mothma, and just yell at my husband for 5 seconds before I have to put on my face again.
But I think the biggest difference between Mon and all the other characters on the show is that the other characters have opportunities where they get to be alone in a room and really decompress. And Mon is never alone. I'm actually really struggling to think of a single scene that Mon has where she gets to be by herself. And I think that says a lot about how stressed she is.
She escapes after the end of season 2. I'm wondering if there's a thematic scene where she's by herself at all.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
The closest thing is when she's finally does the haircut.
The dreaded haircut.
The dreaded haircut. Honestly, the closest thing that she's to being by herself is the wedding scene.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
While she's dancing and just crashing out. That's on my daily play mix, by the way, when I'm working. I think that's the closest thing to being completely unmasked, completely by herself, guard down. It's the only moment she really just gets to feel. And I know it's jumping way ahead, and when you guys get to that point, it's that moment is a thing like, and as you mentioned, as I'm just literally going like, is there any moment she is by herself? Yeah, I think that's like really the only real time we get to see her just drop every guard that she has. Like she's like on the edge of just openly weepingly drunk. She's just like, hairs down, done. And we get to see her take little bits and pieces of her armor off all through the show, but she never, just like Luthien, like she's never not in character.
Yeah.
Like Andor gets to be in different character, even when he's being Clem, even when he's being his dad, which is a nice thing that he chose his dad's name. Even when he's being Clem, there's little moments where he kind of like lets his, like he's never lets his guard down completely, but like he kind of like goes, okay, I don't have to pretend to be who I am for this moment. Like that whole speech, kind of back up for a second, that whole speech was like, in that whole Aldani heist, that's the first moment he's like, this is who the goddamn hell I am, people. All right. I'm here to live and to fight and to make it through the next thing and next moment. And Mon Mothma is one of the characters who doesn't get to do that.
Yeah.
And as much as Perrin is like always is kind of like whatever he is, he's kind of this guy who's just kind of like doing his thing. She never gets to be fully angry. She never gets to be fully sad. She never gets to be fully out of control. Even in the moment, like like I say, and I'm sorry to jump back and forth, but like even the moments like later on when she's
feeling herself,
feeling herself, or when you guys get to season 2, you look at it again. It's like that moment when Andor rescues her.
Yeah.
Spoilers. When Andor rescues her, when she does her escape, there's a brief moment where she kind of like, what the hell's going on? Like she's like, like where she's like, I'm confused, and then she goes right back into it, right? Like she lets her guard drop just for a hot second, then she's like, she's like, okay, I'm scared because you just shot a guy. Oh my god, okay, no, I'm control. Okay, let's go, let's get out of here. And to see her get to have this business with her earrings and bring it back, where she takes off her armor to get catty with her husband, right? And to basically let him know that we can talk now.
Yeah.
It's like we can actually talk, but we can't fully, but even then we still can't fully talk because we got a guy who's listening, and he's listening. And that was another thing I thought about with him saying, what's the driver's name? It's like she's getting
Clovis.
She's getting well, I mean, like, no, I mean that's his question. Yeah, Corvus, right? So
for the fifth time, it's Clovis. It's always been Clovis. It'll always be Clovis.
Chloris.
Oh, okay.
Chloris.
Hoisted by my own petard.
How's the weather up there? No, I'm kidding. I kid. But just the fact that like, this is like what this, like, I think they mentioned is like this the third driver she's had this month or whatever it is. Like, they keep switching drivers on her, right? And him asking what the driver's name is, it's like, it's almost as in, can we talk in front of this guy? No, we can't. Okay, then let's just go home. It's like, I'd assumed like the reason they're on this roundabout trip, is like we need to talk because we need to keep press because I can't go right home to my daughter because and neither of them want to go directly home to the daughter because she's kind of a brat. And it's clear they don't want to go directly home, so they're taking the long way home. So that moment where it's like, okay, we can't really talk. We want to talk, but we can't really talk.
We got to get this car ride over with.
Yeah, it's like we've done enough of the stuff that we know they're listening to. Can we go home? Yeah, we can go home. Okay, so
maybe you have to pay a toll on the expressway, and he's like, "Fuck it, let's play the 10 credits and just get home 10 minutes faster."
There's congestion pricing.
Yeah,
you have to pay a little bit more.
Surge pricing, but also like like to be a senator's wife in the imperial government, he's got to know that they're being listened to. Like he's got to like even as an imperial sympathizer, he knows that they are being listened to, and he knows that Mon is up to shit. He has no idea what she's up to, but it's the fact that it's like we can't talk about it, and I know we can't talk about it, and we can't be as angry as we really want to be at each other because somebody's always listening. And like the only time that they're ever really happy together is like for the 5 minutes at the wedding.
Yeah.
It's like so like this is I imagine like this car ride is like their entire life. It's like we know somebody's watching, we know we want to actually really talk about something, and until we get home we can't really talk.
Yeah.
But then we we're just yelling at each other because that's the only time we get to do it.
Yeah. And we leave Mon behind on this very ominous note of just like what is going to happen with her. And then we return to Aldani as the crew arrives at the dam in the middle of the night. And there's a really sweet moment where Andor compliments Nemec and is like, it looks just like your model. Like, way to go. You really got the model down.
Wait, before we get there, I do want to say even though I think that's morning and this is night, when they're all walking down the mountain, it just reminded me of the scene from Spaceballs, the when they're singing the ding, 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 ding. Like, it's the same framing of them against the sky.
Sure,
of just the shadows walking around.
Oh, God. Oh, you're not wrong.
But they are both night. Something I don't know if we've ever talked about is each episode of season 1 is one day. So, like, it started in the morning and now we're in the evening now. So, like, it is kind of funny to imagine, like, wait, but these are all planets. Like, don't they have different day-night cycles? But, you know, we don't have to worry about that.
The three-body problem does not exist in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, God.
I just love the transitions, though, man. Like, that transition, you know, it's like the transition for every time it's like, okay, let's get your stuff together, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
They're going. You know, it's like, now they're going. And then it's, you know, like, let's take the expressway, you know, cut to the expressway on Aldhani. You know, it's like, it's really well, this whole episode's filled with that. And I really like how they do that because it's like I say, it's the night cityscape juxtaposed with, you know, like, as we pan over and down, juxtaposed to, you know, the night countryscape.
And Nicholas Britell's score through these next couple like moments of the show is really beautiful, and it does such a good job of keeping that lingering anxiety going over 3 disparate scenes, which is Mon in the back of the car, heading out back home, the Aldhani crew getting a fire together to send a signal to Gorn, letting him know that they're in position. And then we also get to see Syril one last time in his childhood bedroom, staring at a holographic image of young Andor, his true enemy. And, you know, we were talking before about how kids love fascists, like kids love like fascists and the Empire. And I have to point out that there are little clone trooper toys
in the background,
on his little dresser. And if that's not like exactly what we were talking about, I don't know what is. Like, he's grown up idolizing like the Empire and maybe even the Republic, you know, that this is these are the structures with which, you know, we have stability and can have a better life for everybody. We went to a Q&A once where the moderator talked about how Syril's a cop, and it's easy to imagine like he played cops and robbers, he played clone troopers and clankers, and he always made sure he played on the clone trooper side.
Clone trooper side, yeah, absolutely. Well, he's also a big kid. He's playing warrior. I mean, there's all these people who are playing warriors. I mean, Nemec is playing a soldier. You know, like, they're playing dress up soldiers. Like, none of them are actual soldiers. They're getting ready and they're practicing, you know, how to march.
Yeah.
And, you know, Syril is playing as a soldier. He's playing dress up as a soldier. He's playing dress up as like a SWAT cop. He's never done it. Horrible speeches. Yes, sir. Go ahead. You know, right. He's terrible at it. And then, you know, have him in his childhood bedroom, you know, later on with his toys. And then later on when they're, you know, before the massacre, when he's, you know, hanging out on the planet, he's got his toy spiders.
Yeah.
Like, the guy is like he's clearly a toy collector. He's one of us. He's, you know, he's
some sort of Star Wars Funko Pop.
Funko Pops, yeah.
But yeah, what you're saying,
world
what you're saying, though, it reminds me of the Kurt Vonnegut quote of "We are only what we pretend to be, so we must be careful what we pretend to be." Of just like, if you fake yourself that you are a evil cop, eventually you will just become an evil cop. You got to be really careful about what you're doing.
And Andor is also pretending to be a rebel troop, you know, like that's what he was sent down here to do. And in that same way, like by pretending to be that thing, he ends up becoming it, like, against his own will.
And it's, you know, all these people playing pretend, you know, pretend like I said, it's all these things that just keep echoing through this series. Like, people are pretending to be marriage, they're pretending to be a hero. They become, like you say, they become a hero because they pretended so hard to be a hero, they become a hero.
Well, I guess that's part of the experiential experience is getting to practice to be those people. So thankfully they don't commit that hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Commit so hard to the bit you become a fascist is not. Yeah.
Right. It's like, if you commit to the bit, yes, but just pull back. There's a moment you have to pull back.
We leave Syril behind, and we're going to say goodbye to Syril for the next, like, 7 weeks, I think. And we find Gorn standing on the dam as he sees the lit fire. And with that done, Vel then commands Skeen to basically apologize to Cassian by telling him the story of his brother and how he was killed by the Empire.
Before you get there, I just want to point out, like, it's such a, if you tell me what like the Star Wars aesthetic is having this giant space planet with all these technologies, and then they have to like wave of fire. Like to me, that is such a combination of like, yeah, we could do something more technology, but the more primitive, the better it is. Like those things still exist as just.
The Empire has no way of surveilling a fire.
Yes.
You know, they have they have the comms tower there, and that comms tower is going to end up being how they discover that the heist is happening. So, like, if they do any comms like that, that would give them away. But yeah, this primitive technology, you know, going back to the beginnings of his, you know, mankind is their way of taking the Empire down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it worked for the Ewoks. So I mean, like, it might as well work for Andor. I mean, look, the cool thing about, like you say, the aesthetic for Star Wars is all about reusing stuff that's been there for forever. Like the neat thing for it, and why I always talk about people like why do you like the aesthetic so much? Because everything is it's upcycled. Like everything is upcycled, and all the fight in Star Wars, all the war in Star Wars is about resources. It's all about resources and power. I mean, which is why everything the rebels use and everything that's on you know the edge of the galaxy, all the, you know, everybody who's in the outer rim, they all have upcycled stuff. I mean, it's like stuff that's like they talk about like, oh, this thing is like ancient. You know, it's like, oh yeah, well, it's ancient, but we still use leather on. Why do they still have leather straps? Okay, think about it. It's like they still have leather straps because they're still taking hide from animals. They are still using fire for stuff. Yeah. They are still using, they're still slug throwers. Slug throwers are a thing in the Star Wars universe. Bows and arrows. The fact that the Empire, what makes them evil is because everything's new. It is faster, quicker.
The Empire will be quick to ban the right to repair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's like, they're like, oh, well, we have this new thing, so we got rid of all the other stuff. I mean, like, half of the Rebels gear is like upcycled, recycled, Imperial gear. It's like half the stuff is Clone War era. They talk about that all the time. Like, like, this is from the Clone Wars. It's like, yes, it's 20 years old. Who cares? But does it still work? Yes, we've done some cool stuff to it, so it works even better. But like, I mean, the show starts with them on Ferrix literally upscaling old stuff, yes, into new fancy, even though it still works. Yeah, we got to make it into a fancy new version of it. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you have Imperials out here in this temple shooting at pots and pans, early this episode, it's like target practice. It's like, what, you can't use the hall simulator, and it's like there's a room. We have a literal room for this. It's like, no, this is cheaper and faster. It's like we just hang things out here because that's what we do. I mean, even on Coruscant, even if you look at that room that the Karns share, like Syril and Edie, like you look at his bedroom. Yeah. That thing has probably been there since the Clone Wars. It's probably been there since the High Republic. Like that. That's not a new apartment complex. Right?
Yeah, that's a tenement building for sure.
Yeah, it's a tenement building.
Robert Moses knocked out a bunch of those. Yeah.
Right away. Yeah, you had to go down to level 1313 because that's so we put the hyperspace lane through.
And even talking about the heist, the fact that it's gold doubloons and not like the blockchain, that is the Imperial payroll. Like all of this stuff is so old.
Why were we using credits? It's like, just put your little thing and go bloop.
What if the heist was that jelly money that they had in?
Oh, in the Mandalorian.
Yeah. What was that?
I forgot about that.
It's calamari flan.
Yeah. The jiggly version of this heist would be really funny.
Yeah. So you about to pull something out?
So yeah, I know it's like if you use my box. You want some flan? I have.
Oh my god!
Wow!
Oh my god!
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
Flan. So yeah, if you want some credits, I got you covered.
That's amazing.
I got hard cash. So if you guys want,
that's your co box in case it's the
or if you really need to do some like gambling, I have whatever that is from Solo.
That's amazing.
It reminds me of the box in like Back to the Future 2, where it's like here's all of the currency from different eras. In case you just swap out, yeah.
It's kind of what I got here. Depending where you need to go. Sorry, visual pun. The flan. Yeah, imagine. Yeah, I can't even begin to fathom. It's like, okay, so what do we have? We have 100 million credits in Flan,
Yeah, that would have been a difficult heist.
but it keeps jiggling. It's like, okay, but it's quiet. We can take it one thing at a time, but it keeps moving. Like they still use credits. They still, they still use hard currency. They use specie. It's like, and it's all usable in Star Wars. And that's one of the cool things about, for me, I always loved.
Yeah.
There was that scene in Solo where they're playing with credits and with like skins, depending on what planet you're from, and it's all worth something somewhere.
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of how tangible and how like kind of old school the Star Wars universe is, Skeen's story is about a farmer,
Yeah.
The story that he tells is that his brother had a farm that an imperial prefect came in, took his land and flooded it, killing all the trees, and that with no way to fight back, his brother just couldn't take it anymore. So he took a boat and filled his pocket with stones. And we were just having some fun, but this is definitely one of the most, like, I think, one of the darkest moments of the show, especially to this point. And also one of my favorite acting scenes in Andor, that I think Eben does such an amazing job of not being able to make eye contact with Cassian as he's telling this. Like, I think this story is absolutely genuine and real.
Oh, 100%.
Because especially as he says, I always hated the Empire. I don't really know what to call how I feel now.
I didn't notice this until this rewatch, is he says they killed him. They killed him.
Yeah.
Even though he committed suicide, it's their fault, which is the right way of viewing it. But yeah, that is,
It's the fact that, like, it is a real story, but also Andor still tests him.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's like, okay, is this guy for real? He goes, what kind of farm was it? Because that's a detail. If you were lying about it,
that's one way to read it for sure. For me, I saw it more as like Andor trying, like, engaging with him emotionally and saying, like, I hear you. Like, I want to know more about your brother. What kind of farm? It was more how I read the scene. Because then, he talks about how they were pepper trees, centuries of them. And this is a moment that when I hear him talking about his family's connection to these trees, I can't help but think about, like, the history of olive trees in Palestine and how like such a big part of Palestinian culture is cultivating these olive trees for generations, and how I saw a report that Israel has destroyed more than 1 million olive trees since 1967. And I actually even have a report here from just a few days ago that they uprooted 8,000 trees in just 1 week. And so this is another example of the show being able to touch on the real ways that an empire would demoralize people by taking away their land and taking away the things that, represent their culture. I was reading another article today about this, about how so many Israeli settlers will go and take over these olive farms, and then the military will come in and not allow the farmers back onto their land. And that anytime they try to approach, harvesting these olive trees would be like a whole family affair, but now that's impossible. This is something that gets taken away, not just from the current farmers, but also future generations.
Well, on top of that, I mean, I got them for my bar mitzvah. I think it's a very common gift, is you get these little, like, certificates that on your behalf, X number of new trees have been planted in Israel. That's like a very, like, common gift that you get.
Yeah.
Have they planted 1 million trees? Because I highly doubt it.
No, but there's something like, they identified that, like, the gift of, like, you were helping, you were building this foundation in this country.
Mm-hmm.
But there were trees already. It's just now the tree is being built by you. So now it's important. The other tree was not important.
And, they flooded his farm. They built a dam, just like they did here on Aldhani. Like, this is the playbook that the Empire is playing out everywhere. And I think the ultimate end of Skeen's story is that, yes, he hates the Empire, but he's not able to channel that into solidarity. Unlike Andor, who also feels the same way, especially after what he goes through on Narkina and what he went through with his father. But he's able, through his experiences on, I think, Narkina specifically, able to understand that like solidarity is the only way to actually fight this off. Like if you do this on your own, you're just going to end up dead.
There's one way out.
Mhm.
One way. There's one way out. Yeah, and it's through. And that's the thing that Nemec gets. That's the thing that Cinta and Vel get. That's what Andor gets. That's why Skeen ultimately, when what seals his fate later.
Yeah.
It's because he's not going through. He wants to go around it because he doesn't know what it is that he feels, and he's like, well, I've taken my one little bit of thing here. I've seen one taste of death. It's too much for my blood. I'm just going to go around it, and hey, let's run away and do it. And for a guy who very much was feeling and was in it for the revenge, it becomes something else very quickly.
Mhm.
And it's not punishment. It just becomes selfishness. And I think that is the big thing. And this kind of why I was like, yeah, he's connecting with him. But for me, it's like he's kind of testing him. It's like, why, your question, my reasons of why I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
What are, what's your reasons? What's the lieutenant's reasons?
Yeah.
Because it's like, what are the lieutenant's reasons for doing this? Like, why is the Imperial doing this? Because it's clear for everybody else that like they're in it for the feels. They're in it because it's real. And for Skeen to be about it being, revenge for his brother, and hatred against the Empire, it is like the rest of them, and like Andor, it's selfish.
Mm-hmm.
It is a selfish one. And Nemec's whole play on his this what this is and why we're doing this and why as a true believer of what we're fighting for, it is neat to have those two in play during this whole episode and during the whole heist, because it's one shoulder of Andor. It's an angel and a devil on Andor's shoulder. It's like, why are you doing this? Well, I'm doing it because of money and revenge. I'm doing it for the selfish reasons. But why do I stay with it? I stay with it because it's the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
It's the fight. It is the right fight to fight. It is we're trying to crush this fragile fascist thing, which sees itself as the end all be all. It sees itself as the pinnacle. It sees itself as the top of the mountain, and on Coruscant.
Mm-hmm.
When the real world are the people. The real world are the people who do these things. Or the real world are the farmers and the smugglers and the dancers and it is that whole moment there when they're sitting around the fire is ultimately, for this first season, it's kind of like it's the pivot point. It's why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like we're doing this. Are we really doing it for the farmers?
Yeah.
Are we really fighting it for And I think for Skeen, he thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
But Andor really is, and Andor doesn't know that he is. But in that moment, kind of like what kind of farmer was. It's like, okay, well, he was a human, and he was worth defending against people. And even though he's pretended he's not paying attention, and because they do this thing where he calls out like, what's everybody hand? It's like right hand or left hand, where he is very much in this moment, kind of feeling out like, what are you two doing? Like, why are you doing this? And who's what's my role in this world? He's feeling out really who people are and why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's testing the metal. He's testing the metal of the man.
Yeah.
He's testing. It's like, why are you doing it? Who are you, and who's going to be in here with the gunfights with me, and who can I trust, who can I not?
Yeah.
And really this moment for me is like, does Andor trust these people, and does he trust himself?
Mm-hmm.
And does he trust himself to do the thing that he needs to do to move forward?
Can we hold for a bit? Because I think there's like an ice cream truck driving by.
We're recreating the scene in what do you call it? Another Man.
Yeah.
Hello.
That's very funny. We're like in this emotional moment. And then,
it's my favorite scene in the movie. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock. Yeah, he's early.
Early. 9 p.m. 9 p.m. ice cream.
I'm close to the corner, so he comes like by the side.
Oh, sure.
It's like, geez.
That's funny.
It's ungodly.
And so this moment with Skeen ends with Skeen telling Andor that this is as close to an apology as you're gonna get from me. And Andor kind of scoffs and says, that's close enough. which is another little bit of bonding, I think, between them. That like I get it. You're not going to give me any more. I'm not asking for any more of you. And as Skeen walks away, Vel comes up to let them know that Terriman is now completely in charge of the operation. And if all goes well, they'll be seeing each other again tomorrow night. And Terriman says that he needs to hear Andor say he can follow the plan because everybody's looking to him like he's the weak link. And Andor says that you won't have a problem with me. That I think Andor is still saying like, we're way in over our heads. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I am not going to be your problem tomorrow. I promise you.
They're all sort of deflecting on him instead of actually dealing with their own fears. Like, but you're okay, right? Yeah.
And then Nemik wishes Vel luck, but Vel says this isn't a farewell because they have plenty of work to do tomorrow. And so Vel and Cinta grab their rifles and head out into the night. And then we leave Cassian and the rest of the boys very unsure of what is going to happen tomorrow.
Can I say one quick thing before this moment? I love that they leave so much just empty space because there's silence for like 45 seconds. Like there's no dialogue after that.
Yeah.
like we are literally left quiet for almost a full minute, which is like, film real estate. That's a whole bunch of stuff that happens, right? And the fact that they leave that kind of room here.
The last time there's been that much silence in Star Wars is probably the Hondo maneuver. Not Hondo.
The
Holdo maneuver.
Yeah. But it's like
a little note that shows up on Disney Plus, which is your TV is not broken. There is no sound. Yeah.
It's just that they hold space for that. Talk about building tension, right? It's like you hold space on a bunch of people who just like said goodbye, and you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to play out, and then they just sit in it. They just sit in it, right?
Yeah.
You watch these characters just sit in the freak out moment, and then we smash cut to like Luthen having a freak out moment.
Yeah.
And I think Hondo was in my mind because we were
talking about Hondo
and
earlier,
Aka. Yeah.
But and also there's no attempt to deflate this. Nobody has like a little zinger. Like nobody has a little quip to kind of like let us know that everything's going to be okay. We genuinely have no idea of knowing who is going to make it out tomorrow. We only know that Andor is going to make it out just by virtue of the fact that this is a prequel.
Yeah.
And even then, we don't know that he's going to make it out in one piece. We've already seen him get shot. We've already seen him get hurt. Like, and by the end of the show, we see that Andor gets hurt a lot, and
we might find out
just barely survives.
That this Cassian dies into the secret twin brother, who's the one in
like Beer Fest. Right? Like I look exactly like him. Why don't you just call me also Cassian?
Yes.
He's a clone. They clone him from his hand, from his left hand that gets shot off. Deep lore cut for those who know. But no,
Cassian.
With two A's.
I know about this. Okay.
For anyone who doesn't know, there was a clone of Luke who was called Luke with two U's.
Two U's, yeah. Dad Burnett, that's my explanation for what happened with the Emperor. It's all through the new series. It's all there. But like, and you, as you point out, that nobody does a quip. That's usually the moment in every Star Wars movie, right? Where somebody goes, or I've got a bad feeling about this, or
God,
like it's the moment in every single. Think about it. It's like it's the moment every single one he goes like, I hope so. I'll see you in hell. Like somebody's got something to say. It's usually Han Solo. It's usually Han Solo, right? But somebody always in this moment, like the down moment, like even like R2, does like the sad whistle. Like somebody says something. And the fact that we sit for a full freaking almost a full minute, just like there's no joke, there's no quip, there's no whistle, there's no sign of.
Han would turn to Nemik and go, "So what do we have? What's for dinner?" Like,
yeah, what's for dinner? Or
let me guess, more Dre milk.
yeah.
It's like I'm not scared. You will be. It's like there's something. But the fact that we sit with it is totally anti Star Wars, which is also perfect.
Yeah.
Which is also perfect for this moment. And I I had this my note. I'm going like silence is perfect.
Because this is the scariest part of the entire kind of Star Wars timeline, you know, that like this is the Empire at its strongest. This is the rebellion at its weakest and most crushable, you know? And so it makes sense that this is when no one is quipping. No one is having a good time. No one is happy right now. And so that's why no one gets to make a joke, really. Unless you're in your loveless marriage with your horrible husband. Those are the only people who are allowed, or at home with your horrible mother. Those are the only people who have jokes, and they are mean jokes designed to hurt each other.
Yeah, speaking of... there's no pivot there.
Well, I mean, it's it's adopted father.
Yeah, I mean, somebody who usually has quips is Luthen,
yeah.
And we're going to go back for the end of the episode, back to his shop, which I'm still mad does not have a fun name. Like,
I love the name of the shop. I love that it's just such a straightforward name. Luthen's the Galactic Antiquities and Objects of Interest. It's like so straightforward.
No, it should be like Crazy Luthen's Crazy Deals.
It's a respectable place that senators need to be able to come to.
So we find him in the back of the room. It's presumably it's the same time, so it is real late at night.
Mm-hmm.
Playing with his little radio, and he's holding his headphones up like a DJ, which I like, just to one ear. But yeah, Clea comes in to join him and reminds him, "You said you were just leaving." Luthen can't, but says he's almost done. And she reminds him that he said that an hour ago.
This is like when my wife catches me like on Reels after I said I was going to come to bed like right away. He's just doom scrolling on the radio is what he's doing.
And then I'm sure if we had 4 hours, you could break down every item on this wall.
I've got 3 items I do want to call out.
Okay.
So this is as good a time as any to do it. And I'm sure, Anthony, you already know all of this is there. But we see a Sith and a Jedi holocron behind
I've seen those at Star Wars Land.
Exactly. You can buy those at Star Wars Land, which is very funny thinking about that in universe of just like one of the rarest forms of archival technology you can just buy for like $50. But here it is in the back of Luthen's shop. There are also some items frozen in carbonite, which I do want to shout out is the thing that carbonite is actually supposed to be used for. It's like supposed to be used for like transporting things, and it just ends up being used to transport people, which is all we ever see.
Peanuts? It's like space.
Yeah, exactly.
Styrofoam.
Space styrofoam. And then there are also 3 Sankara stones, which are not a Star Wars item. Those are from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So that's a little bit of Lucasfilm Easter egg planting. Like something we talk about a lot on the show is how like people say like, oh, the reason Andor is good is because it doesn't do the Easter egg stuff that all the other Disney Plus shows do. And they do it. It's just like they effectively woven into...
Yeah, the camera doesn't do a slow pan over it. Yes.
It's there for the people who for the people who know how to find it.
Well, Indiana Jones is part of the universe because I read the comic where
Chewbacca.
Indiana Jones finds Chewbacca.
I did not know about that.
Yeah, that's a neat. What if I? Thank you. I like to see it. Yeah. Also, too, if you go back and watch Solo, all right, because remember a Solo story in his on the big ship in his antiquities collection.
Yeah.
The idols there from Indiana Jones from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the original idol, the fertility idol is there, and I think the Sankara stones are somewhere in there too. So it puts them in universe like a couple of times.
Yeah,
so they're there. And also, like I'm not 100% sure as I lean in here. If you look way on the back shelf, so for those of you guys who are finding it, there's a little pot that vaguely resembles Aunt Beru's home mixer.
I was trying to see if that was anything, and I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't find anything. And unfortunately, when you Google Aunt Beru home mixer, that doesn't really bring up anything. Oh wait, here's a high-res shot of their kitchen.
For food processor.
Is there anything else on Clea's desk that we need to talk about, or are we?
No. we can go back into this amazing scene that is going to close out our episode.
Yeah, she said, "There's nothing coming through tonight. You want to be useful? Go clean some coins." Which I think is the new Star Wars. Like, go clean your shine. Was it go?
Go home and shine your box. Go and get your shine box.
Yeah, get your shine box. Yes, that. Yeah, I see. Just imagining him just cleaning coins is just like a stim.
Yeah.
It's part of your cover. Just gonna clean coins. It's like could you imagine like that? It's like, he's like, it's, how are you trading messages? Well, it's how polished that particular coin is. Every third coin is polished. Okay, so that means it's get out now, you're in danger. Okay,
yeah.
Got it.
I like to imagine that if Luthen did clean the coins, Clea would just have to do it also because he probably would do a bad job at it.
Yeah, she just comes to one day, there's a giant pile, and she goes, "Oh no, what's happened?" Yeah.
He gets halfway through and his like ADD distracts him and he goes and does something else.
Yeah, but I think at some point, I guess we missed the scene where he put on exhausted wig. He's taken off fancy wig and put on exhausted wig.
The same wig.
But now it's so depressed, and now it's just it's taking on the weight of the world.
Because he's probably been like messing with it.
Messing with it all day.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Luthen finally puts the radio away. He asks Clea if she's happy, and Clea is never happy. So yeah, Luthen looks exhausted and anxious and forlorn and all a bunch of other words. He's just going through his like, I ask Clea if she's checked away her walkaway pack, and I guess that's her the go bag, and also the one on the Fondor, and also like he's thinking of anything besides what is happening.
I don't know if we ever see Luthen this genuinely concerned and afraid ever again in the show. Like, this is definitely the most anxious we ever see him, which tells us what a pivotal moment this is for the rebellion. That if this didn't work out, like, all of Luthen's plans would fall apart.
Yeah, I think we talk so much about like the masks he puts on to the world. Like, he's fully mask off at this point. This is the real Luthen.
Yeah. And I think it's also telling how worried he is about Clea. That he's asking, like, do you have your go bag? Like, is it on the Fondor? Like, are you ready to go in case this doesn't go well?
She's a higher priority than the rebellion.
Or at least than himself.
Yeah.
Himself. I mean, she is, as we come to find out, like, it's his daughter. It's not his coworker. It's like, it's effectively his adopted daughter. And, you've got a guy who knows that she's also what's been pushing, as we come to find out, and even in this scene, she's actually what's been pushing him forward.
Yeah, exactly.
She is just as much his protege as she is, his not just a protege, but she's much like, the leader of the two of them as he is, because it's funny because she actually is not she became a leader. She stepped up. She literally took it's clear she's taken the reins from Luthen in many ways, because she became his resolve, and she is much more resolved in this. She's much more sure of it than he is, and less worried because just like Cassian, she's been in this fight since she was a little kid, and the two, her and Andor have a lot in common in that they are both fighting this fight from different ends, and she is dead sure what she's doing, and he grows into it to the point where he comes better than her. But what we're getting here is the same thing. This is the exact same moment that Andor was telling them about on the mountainside. They say it's like echoing again. It's the night before is the worst time because there's too much time to worry. And there's part of the reason why she's like, go clean your coins, dude.
Yeah.
Go do something.
Yeah.
Go clean your coins. Go do something that's mind numbing that you don't have to think about it, because you're going to sit here and worry about it the entire time. Because and this is the thing about leadership.
It was the night before Aldhani, and back at the heist.
It was the night before Aldhani, and all through the planet, nobody was doing anything. Damn it, Janet.
So Clea sort of doesn't like seeing him this nervous, and she tells him, there's nothing else you can do. They're either going to be okay or they're not. Which, everything has a 50% odds. Either it's yes or no. Yeah,
it's do or do not.
Yeah, but yeah,
there is no try.
Luthen basically goes like, "Well, no shit," and Clea reminds Vel. Vel is the only one who can be traced back to him, and Luthen is forced to admit there is another. And that because Cassian also knows too much, and that Luthen wasn't careful. he sort of admits that he fucked up. And we also see just as much as he was selling it to Cassian last episode, this is the reality, is that he was nervous and stressed out. And as he said, wanted it too much.
And this is one of the scenes that plays the most differently after watching the whole show, of knowing just how deep, like you were saying, the relationship between Clea and Luthen is. That, like, I also think it's interesting that she says, like, I don't like seeing you nervous. Like, he has been nervous before, you know, in their journey, and she knows that that doesn't help anything. Because when he even says that, you know, I wanted it too much, what does she say? She says something along the lines of, like, there was no other way.
Yes, no other way, yeah.
Yeah, you wanted this to happen. This is what it took. It's never going to be perfect. And yeah, that's when he says, I wanted it too much. So.
Yeah. I also think it's funny that, like, his hair is all distraught. Hers is still perfectly coiffed.
Yeah.
So Claire reminds him that they need to work tomorrow and he needs to be ready. He goes, yeah, whatever, I'll be ready. And then she reminds him that it'll be all over this time tomorrow. And then he responds, or it'll just be starting.
Or that, yeah.
And then I said before that Clay is never happy, but she does give him a little bit of a smile.
That's the closest we get to a quip in Andor. Yes. Her little like, or that. It is her admitting, like, she is a little excited to see what is going to happen, you know?
So the way this scene lands, because really what we have is Luthen in his rare moment taking off his mask.
Mm-hmm.
Luthen allowing himself that moment to be freaked out. And Clea, who quite honestly, I think only ever drops her mask. Like, I love all these characters who like only drop their mask like once or twice during the whole show, you know? And hers is really like after she's safe. That's the point, is like, she's the only person who's like, I'm safe now. I can completely lose my shit. Great. Because she's been, Clea, Clea has been keyed up, nice wordplay there. Clea, key. She's, she is riding that calmness to a fault the entire way through this show. And which is probably why she says, I don't like seeing you this nervous, because Luthen's never nervous. Luthen is always the one who's always sure, Luthen doesn't flinch. Luthen doesn't pause. He doesn't hesitate. Luthen just does, right? The fact that he's freaking out at this moment, that he, I want it too much. That is such an incredibly loaded statement for everything that's happening. He wants the heist to come off. He wants Andor to work out. He wants to get away clean from this stuff. He wants to be able to he wants, and it's, for him, this is like he says, this is either the end of everything or the start. This is the moment where they get all the funding they were trying to get, because they've been doing all this other funding outside the box with trying to get money with Mon, because she's been, funding's running out, and he knows that's all getting scary. He's trying to put a big stab in the Empire, make them take notice. He's trying to get his people tested and through. There's so much happening right now, and he's on the knife edge, that he's literally that he's literally like himself, just freaking out. And I appreciate that Clea is the rock for him, for this episode and future episodes, and for everything through. It's like she's the most, like, out of the two of them, she's actually even more chill, because he gets angry. Clea never even gets angry.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't lose her cool. And this moment is a father and daughter, or two compatriots, however you want to look at it, who usually keep each other calm. And his nervousness is starting to make her freak. Like that's what that is. Like, she's like, I'm trying not to freak out. Like, can you stop freaking out? Because you're making me freak out. Like, go play with your coins.
Mm-hmm.
And to end it with this neat moment of, this is the end, this is the beginning, this is the end, this is the beginning, because it is, because it's the end of the old way. It is the end of not standing up. It's the end of being in the shadows, and it's the start of the real fight. Because everything that comes after the Aldhani heist is we're real duking it.
The spark is lit.
Yes. Light the
dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Light the fire. Yeah. Another call and response, by the way. It's like, light the spark, ignite the fire. It is a nice ground. It's ground zero for everything that comes afterwards. And and it's a fun moment to leave it on
Mhm.
in silence, starting that moment in silence and kind of finishing it, in silence.
Yeah.
Is pregnant pause, so I dig those two.
Yeah.
I dig the relationship.
It
throughout
might
this
be silence, but in my head, Closing Time by Semisonic is playing. So you can go anywhere, but you can't stay here.
Stay here, yeah.
Yeah, so it's lights out, door closed. The theme song plays as opposed to Closing Time, but that's the end of the Axe for Cats.
Yes, we have reached the end of this middle episode, and then we will be picking up with the Eye next week. Anthony, do you have any final thoughts about Andor, the upcoming episode, or any final thoughts that you didn't get to touch on in this episode so far?
I gotta say, I love that. Like I said, this episode, just everybody echoes something else. Parent and child. Even across time and space, as parent and child, there is somebody trying to convince somebody to do something that they really don't want to do. There, everybody's quibbling over money. Everybody's quibbling over money. Us versus them. Who's the us and who's the them, and everybody. You get that at the beginning of the episode. You got it in the middle of the episode with Mon and her kid and her husband. We have that later on with Andor and the group. We have that even with the lieutenant and and his men. It's like it's me versus them. And how many people end up standing alone in this episode by themselves, but then to slowly come together in whatever binary star that they get caught in, whether it be vengeance versus the rebellion, or Syril and his little hologram of Andor, prey versus predator, and and then nervous versus sure. It's to quote Lucas, it's like a poem. It rhymes. It's like in this whole episode, and largely through the whole series, this whole series, and part of what makes it beautiful is that the way that it dances in and out of itself, that it is a poem. It is a song that has refrains, that it comes back to itself, and it it goes to the writing of the show. It's why people say it's one of the best science fiction shows, not just Star Wars shows, but it's one of the best science fiction series that have been done, because it is a straightforward, it's more than just a sci-fi thriller.
Yeah.
It's more than just a spy movie. It is a story about not just good and evil like Star Wars is, but like it's the whole Nietzsche thing, right? It's like, careful you stare into the abyss, lest because the abyss also looks back at you. Be careful the monsters you fight, lest the monster you become. And for this show to be about resistance and rebellion, and how rebellions are fragmented, how not everybody's in it for the same reason, not everybody fights the same, but the end is the same, and it's fighting, it's standing up against fascism, standing up against evil, standing up against that kind of imperialism and colonialism that destroys and has no care for what it steps on, which is this episode is like the lieutenant's whole standpoint of he had a woman who was a local, and he fell in love with her, lost her because he's the Empire. They stepped on it. They're slowly taking away this is probably the last eye that anybody's ever going to get to do this trek again, right?
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing in this episode. It's like, this is the last time. We're going to probably ban it from now on, right? They restricted how many people can come up the hill. Like the fact that they're using this holy site as target practice. This big thing that's been going on for eons of people coming up to see this, the storm, the eye, is something that they're going to be denied. Which as it echoes things in the real world, unfortunately, as much as people were like, it's woke, I'm like, dude, they wrote this thing like 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, it just seems he was just paying attention.
What's the quote? Like, every rule is written in blood. Like, like every mistake that's like if they ever do this again, they will know where they're fucked up, and they have where. Yeah, we can't let them in the hills. Like that's
yeah. And so much of Andor for me was watching this and it's how it relates to present day.
Mm-hmm.
And how every speech that happens, every good speech that happens in this show, Nemec's speech, rings absolutely true.
Yeah.
Rings absolutely true. And it's something that's it's straight from the original trilogy. It's kind of why I love it. It's like, Leia's quotes, because Nemec's manifesto echoes Leia's quote, like the more you grasp on, the tighter you grip on the system, the tighter your grip, the more systems will slip through your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That it's this fragile thing that they're fighting to hold up because they are scared, right? They are afraid that they will lose control, and they quash not because they don't understand it, because they do understand it, and they know that this thing's, if they let it grow and they let it stand up to them, that they'll topple over, and not to get too much into it, but that's kind of what we're seeing in many ways, right?
Yeah, there's no echoes of anything happening in real life. Yeah,
not at all, not at all. But it's that's a huge thing for this show, and the fact that the characters are about, when it comes down to it, the characters do what they do out of love. A lot of these characters do what they do out of love, even the bad guys, even the stuff that's going on with Syril and Edie, because she loves her son. It's a really toxic love, but she loves her son. It's everything that Andor's mom does for him. You're right. The whole thing's because she loves her town, she loves her family, she loves him, she wants him to keep going. Everything that Lieutenant Gorn's doing, it's because out of love. Everything that Skeen's doing, even though it's twisted, it's out of love for his brother. Luthen and Clea, it's out of love for each other. Everything that happens in this show, including the stuff with Deidre and Syril, right? Because she doesn't realize she does, but she does. She falls in love with them, and because you see it later.
Yeah.
Right? And the show is about how, if you love people, not just people that you have connection to, but everybody else around you, that's what wins the fight. And it's about love of other people, love of righteousness, love of the good fight, and putting yourself into that, putting yourself out there, that you can overcome all these things. And that's what the show really is about. Only love can conquer hate. It's the only thing that can do it. And you just have to be careful how you show that love. You have to be careful of holding on too tightly. You be careful of being scared. It's that fear. That's the whole Jedi thing about it's not about being the whole thing about attachments. It's not about not love. It's being so in love with something that you cannot let it go.
Yeah,
and
it's like what Rose says at Last Jedi.
I just pulled it up to get it correct.
Same here,
Comrade Rose.
This is how we're going to win: not fighting what we hate, but saving what we love. That is really the story of Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. This has been such a fun episode.
We'll have you on speed dial at various points. If you have...
Yes. Do you have anything you would like to plug? Where can people follow you? Anything you want to plug here for our listeners?
So if you want to hear me ramble on about Star Wars and immersive things, you can find some various posts from me in a couple of places, written and recording on the podcast for No Proscenium at noproscenium.com, and all the fine places you can find your podcasts. Also, I was recently on a podcast called Beyond the Torch, which was with Todd and Leslie of Survivor China. They host a podcast kind of catching up with other members of the Survivor family, and I just recently did that with them. As we just kind of talked about what we've all been up to and what I've been up to in life.
We just spent 2 hours talking about people stuck in the middle of the woods and never brought up Survivor. The fact that you were on Survivor.
Yeah. So,
feels kind of a layup there.
See how professional podcasters we are.
You know what? I didn't get to talk about Survivor. Survivor. I didn't talk about Star Wars on the island, so I get a place that I can talk about it a lot here. So I'm grateful for it.
Andor, in his little speech at the end, he's kind of making the case for why he shouldn't get kicked off the island, right? Like, they don't have immunity in the Aldani crew.
That's what the Kyber crystal is.
Yeah, he's got the hidden immunity idol, and they all found him out. They sussed it out. As he waves as they wave the torch. Oh my god! I just realized there's a dub that just needs to happen of just that little clip of the video and Waver going, because it's he's waving the torch to signal.
Yeah.
It's straight from the show. That's straight from the opening segment with Jeff Probst.
That's so funny. Be sure to write us a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us out with the algorithm.
More than you think.
Yeah, exactly. You can follow us on whatever your social media vice of choice is at AndorksPod. Send us an email at andorkspod@gmail.com. Hey, if you went on the Galactic Starcruiser, we'd love to hear what your stories are, because it sounded like it was a lot of fun. And then we will see you all next week for part 1 of season 1, episode 6, The Eye. Later, dorks.
Later, dorks.